Though there was no evidence, no leads, authorities put the home under surveillance. The criminal history,
the drugs,
Lena's odd behavior, the drug use,
bath salts,
Ralph's violent criminal history.
Yeah.
I just felt like they needed to watch this place. Over the course of the next 2 months, investigators would follow Lena and Ralph to a store where they purchased bath salts.
Well, yeah, they're going to find some dumb shit following these people around. They're just going around doing goofy stuff.
Well, eventually the pair is arrested in November. Now, bath salts were not illegal in West Virginia, so it wasn't like possessing these bath salts was a crime.
Now, is it really bath salts that people are ingesting in a different way?
It is not like...
Or is it synthetic, just what they're calling a synthetic drug?
Yes, it's a synthetic drug. It is not like the typical bath salt that you're thinking of that you would put in a bathtub and relax.
Okay, that's what I always confused.
Lavender scented.
I always I thought these kids is damn
drug. I said that synthetic.
Right.
This is a synthetic drug that is used to get high, but it wasn't illegal at the time. So even though they arrest the pair, there's really not a lot they can do as far as charging them for the drugs.
Right, because a lot of states had to revamp their what's controlled substance laws because of these synthetic drugs.
So when they were arrested, they didn't really have much to charge them with, and some members of the community were on the fence. Does bad character and lack of morals mean this pair is guilty? No,
but it seems to be turning into one of those cases where you start seeing them might be circumstantial or whatever, this and that, not direct proof. But I always say, if it keeps building and building and building on top, sooner or later, it's not coincidence.
Weeks after Alliyah's disappearance, Lena is charged with welfare fraud.
Now they're hammering them any way they can.
On 4 occasions, she allowed someone to use her EBT card and make purchases around $100 in exchange for $50 cash.
How did they smoke that out?
They're being surveilled.
Oh, they watched it go down, you reckon?
They're pretty hardcore watching these people.
Right, but I'm saying people do that shit all the time.
Do they?
Don't you think?
I don't know, do they?
Sell food stamps to people, 50 cents on the dollar?
I've heard of this. I didn't know it was super common, but I've heard people get busted for doing that kind of thing.
Well, you shouldn't do that. You take that food and go feed them little ones.
The couple was also evicted shortly after Alliyah's disappearance, owing their landlord around $1,400, which would have been 3 months' rent.
Right.
Again, clearly these are people who are not making good choices.
No.
You get food stamps to feed your 6 children.
Right.
You're selling your food stamps for cash.
That you're probably buying drugs with.
Taking that cash and buying bath salts.
Right. At a 2-to-1 rate. So you're giving double your kids' foods away to get half this money to go get drugs with. That's just shitty.
Buying the drugs, not paying rent.
Torturing this little girl.
Kids, you get evicted from your house. Again, just not making great, responsible decisions.
No, not at all.
And here's a side note. I'm being judgmental right now, but why is it that dirtbags always have money to buy drugs, but they can never pay their rent? Or they spend their food stamps on other things besides feeding their kids?
Right.
It's just a dirtbag move, right?
It is. You know what they could do?
Bothers me.
You know what they could do?
Because it really gives other people who need assistance a bad name.
Well, for one thing, they could simply put your picture on the damn card.
Well, that's part, yeah.
That would help. That would go a long way if you giving your card off to someone to trade for drugs or whatever.
Okay. We'll save all this for our political podcast that we talk about.
At the same time, you need that safety net. But then you got these shitbirds. I'm sorry, they're shitbirds abusing it.
Well, after her arrest on the welfare charges, the 6 children, including the newborn twins, were taken from her and put into state's custody.
Well, good, right? It sounds like good for the kids.
Well, here we go. She was pregnant on probation violations in jail when Alliyah was born, and then here she is pregnant with twins. They get taken away from her, and she's in jail again on these welfare charges and again violating her probation for other things. On TV interviews, her cousin stated that Lena continued having children to maintain her welfare benefits and get more money.
And that's what a shitbird does.
I watched, while I was preparing for the story, Nancy Grace.
Oh.
There were some clips of Nancy Grace covering the story, and she had a great aunt and she had a cousin on there, and they were just basically saying, she is the quintessential quote-unquote welfare queen.
Right.
She just keeps popping out babies.
The stereotype.
She keeps getting more money. She keeps getting more benefits, and she does this so she can get more and more. Which, this is a family making this judgment. It's not us saying this is what she's doing, but her own family is saying
But she's creating this 6-child family.
Doing.
She's not taking care of them properly. That's just, I don't know, at what point is that just criminal on a parent's part, honestly? At what point of abusing and, treating your kids like shit is it just like, you violated the law? Shit.
So in the meantime, while she's dealing with these welfare fraud charges, Alliyah's still missing. And this case has just basically gone cold.
Right. It flashed nationally. People talk about, how it goes in America. Everything moves fast. Couple days, 3.
While she's awaiting trial on the federal welfare charges, a judge orders that Lena live apart from her husband and not engage in any form of drug use.
Okay.
The judge takes into consideration the fact that there are so many kids in the picture. Her one daughter is missing. All of her kids are being placed in foster care. And you're both drug addicts. You both use drugs. You both have a drug history. You can't live together. And you can't use drugs or you're going to get in more trouble.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like, how the fuck do you enforce that?
She pleads guilty to the welfare fraud charge. Now, this entire time, investigators believe there is a crime involved with Alliyah's disappearance, and that Lena knows more about what happened to her daughter than she's letting on, but they just don't have any evidence.
And they don't have any real pressure either of it, you know what I mean?
Eventually, Lena agrees to give up custody of her remaining 6 kids in 2013 while she's still in jail. Ralph also terminates his parental rights in the wake of Alliyah's disappearance and the couple divorces.
Both parents. Just give the rights away. She gives the rights away because you know what? Honestly, this type of horrible person, as soon as they weren't benefiting her, she had absolutely no use for those kids.
Both Lena and Ralph had vaguely accused each other of involvement in Alliyah's missing persons case, but authorities felt Lena was the one that knew more.
Right.
All of the children had been neglected, and some of them had irreversible tooth decay as a result of the neglect, which would explain perhaps why Alliyah is a toddler and missing 4 teeth.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is all according to court documents, and part of the reason why they were pursuing, the termination of parental rights for both Lena and Ralph. Lena was jailed 3 times in 5 years after Alliyah's disappearance, mostly on probation violations. It was in June of 2016 that investigators thought they had a lead in the case. A tip rolled in that Alliyah had been sold to a motorcycle gang for human trafficking purposes. Lena supported this theory.
Okay.
It was during this time authorities reached out to Craig and Cammie Cole. Now, the Coles had adopted the 6 siblings and were hoping this news was true. They wanted to bring Alliyah to their home as well so she could be with her brothers and sisters.
My God, those people are awesome.
They really are. I saw interviews with Craig and Cammie, and they were saying, we knew that if Alliyah was still alive and if this were true, she was going to need a lot of love and support. She was going to need therapy. She was going to need a safe environment.
Well, she could be there with her 6 brothers and sisters.
And we wanted to bring her to our home. We wanted to be able to provide these things for her and have her be around her family.
Right.
By October 2016, Destiny Cole, who had been 9 years old at the time of Alliyah's disappearance, posed a curious question to her adopted father, Craig. She asked him about lying. Was it ever okay to tell a lie? Craig told his daughter that the truth was always best. Destiny had recently made a commitment to Christ and felt there was some weight on her to finally tell a secret that she had been holding on to for 5 years.
Wow.
Destiny told her father what happened to Alliyah. Now, per Destiny, remember, she was 9 years old when this happened. On the evening of September 23rd, 2011, Alliyah was being punished and forced to stand in the corner of a room, which was not uncommon This happened quite a bit.
Horrible.
At some point, Lena grew angry with the little girl and picked up a wooden bed slat that had broken off of the child's bed. She walked over and whacked the child on top of the head. Alliyah slumped down, but was conscious. Lena told her to get up, and when the girl wouldn't move, she said, "Fine then, stay there." Alliyah didn't move from that spot for several hours.
Oh my God.
Kiara and Destiny, who were 9 and 11 at the time, put Alliyah in bed.
Oh my God.
The girls pick the child up, they take her into the bedroom, they help her change into her pajamas. Destiny recalled that there was like a squishy spot on Alliyah's head. The little girl complained about having a really terrible headache. When the two older girls told their mom Alliyah was seriously hurt, Lena told them she didn't care. One of the girls then tried to give her some medicine. She thought maybe vitamins. I mean, they're little kids. They don't really know what
They're trying to help their poor sister.
The next morning, the girls tried to wake up Alliyah, but she wasn't breathing. They carried the child into the bathroom and they laid her on the bathroom counter, trying to wake her up. Lena eventually comes in the bathroom and starts trying to wake Alliyah up, but couldn't revive her. In a frenzy, she grabbed the girl's body, she tosses it into a laundry basket. Then she throws some old clothes on top to conceal the body. She tells the girls to help get their baby brother in the family van. Lena loads the laundry basket in the back seat. The four drive with the laundry basket to Vedas, which is the area where the stepfather had lived.
Oh, yeah.
Lena pulled over at a wooded area and demanded that Kiara, the older of the two girls, get out of the van and help her. They carry the laundry basket into the woods and allegedly throw the basket into some type of ravine.
Okay.
When Lena and the girl return, she tells the kids to make a promise to her to never ever tell what happened to Alliyah and that they need to trust her.
That's insane. I just don't know how you can do that.
By November 2016, Lena was living in St. Petersburg, Florida, where she claims she was studying to be a legal assistant and working as a broker for an energy company. She was arrested and charged with homicide by child abuse. At Lena's trial, Ralph testified that the pair had taken bath salts on the night before Alliyah went missing, but claimed he had no knowledge of what happened to the little girl. Both of Alliyah's sisters testified against their mother. The girls both stated that Lena had threatened them by saying, "I brought you into this world and I can take you both out."
Oh my God.
So it was more fear than loyalty that kept the secret buried.
They're just little kids. I mean, nobody can be like, "Why didn't the kids come forward?" I mean, who?
And they were
crazy.
genuinely afraid of their mother.
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't
they said
you be?
they had seen her behave violently. She was always saying that phrase, "I brought you into this world, I can take you both out."
Well, they probably got treated like shit too, I'm sure, to a degree.
So they were really afraid of what would happen. Lena's defense attorneys painted the girls as liars. They had a theory that Alliyah had been sold to a man for heroin. A woman in Louisiana claimed she had seen Alliyah with a man at a restaurant in 2017. The defense also suggested the girl died from an accidental overdose of flu medication, and even almost kind of blamed, "Well, you said you gave her some medicine that perhaps they had given her something that had caused her to overdose."
Right, and the kids got rid of her body too. Won't you kill? You know, I know that everybody deserves a defense, and that's a big part of our system. But I don't know how some of these damn defense attorneys do this shit.
In April 2018, Lena was convicted on counts of murder of a child by refusal or failure to provide necessities, guilty by death of a child by child abuse resulting in injury and concealment of a deceased human body, for which she ends up getting life in prison plus 40 years without the possibility of parole. Alliyah's body was never recovered, though the Vedas area has been searched numerous times. Authorities believe Lena either buried her in a shallow grave or placed her in a ravine which floods frequently, and that there's probably no trace of
she was just
body left.
Yeah, I mean, by the time the scavengers and she's just a little girl.
Foul play is suspected in Alliyah's disappearance due to the circumstances involved. Alliyah is described as a Caucasian female with brown hair and brown eyes. She was 3 feet tall and weighed about 35 pounds at the time of her disappearance. She had her ears pierced and again was missing her top 4 teeth. Lena maintains her innocence. On a website called Paper Dolls, which is like a prison pen pal page, she says she's been wrongfully